Hi guys, my name is Borodante, and this is the XPPen Artist Pro 19 Gen 2. There it is. Also, it took me like 8 takes to say all of this at once. But yeah, here it is, and as you guys can see, this is quite a big boy, or in between the small and big boy, I guess. Usually tablets go like 13, 16 inches, and then it's 21, 24, and beyond inches. And this one sits right in between at 19 inches, which I found incredibly interesting, personally, this kind of size of the tablet, because it definitely expands the working area I've ever had before with my laptop setup. As a second display for a laptop, this Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 really brings a lot to the table in terms of the working area and viewing area and so on. So yeah, this is a very nicely performing 4K monitor. It doesn't have touch input, but it works with a drawing pen. So we have XPPen drawing technology here. And let's real quick go through what comes in the box with the footage from my unboxing. The tablet, the case with 2 pens and nibs, a wireless controller, international power adapters, 2 Type-C cables, and 1 HDMI plus 2 USB Type-A cable, an extra pack with nibs, a wiping cloth, and a drawing glove. But yeah, that's what came in the box, but really what you end up working with, to actually make things a bit less overwhelming, is pretty much this. So we have the tablet. In my setup, I use these 2 cables together, and I'll talk about it in a moment. Pretty much on the table, you have the tablet, you have this controller with you as well. And yeah, with that, you probably want to have this case/stand on your table as well. As you guys can see, this is like this case that holds both pens inside of it, and it has this concave surface at the top, which means you can just drop your pens on it and they'll just stay there like this casually. You can grab any pen from it. It's pretty good. There's always room for improvement in this kind of stuff, but generally it does work for me, which is not frequent with this kind of stuff. So it's pretty good. And we have both pens in here, and we can take them out, leaving just the nibs inside and the replacement to remove the buttons from the slim pen. And basically you just have the case sitting somewhere on your table, and you can just drop both pens on it just like that. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good solution, especially in terms that it's a pretty solid and stable yet just open and convenient layout, where the pens are actually laying flat instead of sticking up. Sticking up seems like a good idea, but really when you organize stuff on your table, they fall a lot. So this is pretty good. I like it. Now about the display, it's color calibrated. It looks really good. It's actually quite bright, which is something I haven't noticed right away, because this tablet can actually do the same thing the smaller tablets, like the modern new smaller tablets, can do. It can be just connected with 1 Type-C cable to your laptop or your computer that supports the proper Thunderbolt Type-C output. So you can just use that 1 Type-C to Type-C cable with your computer, and that's it. And it will work magically with just 1 cable, power, data, and everything, which is really cool. And it worked that way with my laptop, but then I thought it was kind of not too bright. It was totally fine, but I was using it at like 90 to 100% brightness all the time. So then I decided, what if I plug in the second cable and this one goes into the wall? So over there, this is the brick and the cable that plugs into the tablet as well. And that made the screen like 2 times brighter. So I'm not sure exactly. XPPen don't disclose this particular nuance in all the detail, but as far as I understand, maybe you can have like a desktop computer with the latest Type-C port that would output enough energy to make the screen full brightness with just 1 cable. Maybe, I'm not sure, but it's possible that my laptop, even though it's like a modern, really good laptop, it seems like it works like only at maybe 60% brightness or something like that. But what's interesting, if you have like a thin and light laptop that supports the Type-C connection, you can use the second cable to plug your tablet into the wall, and then the first cable will provide energy for your laptop. So you can just have this one cable connected to your tablet, and then the tablet charges your laptop, which is an interesting setup, meaning like since you do have to power this big 4K display with a wall socket, they made it convenient in terms that you don't have to separately plug in your laptop now, because now the display can provide some energy for the laptop. It's not like you will be able to run an RTX 4090 laptop from this Type-C cable or something, but if it's just something lighter than that, maybe an integrated GPU laptop, it will probably work just fine from one Type-C charging like this. If you have the setup for it, this is like taking most advantage out of it with all these cables. And yeah, now I have these like both cables plugged in, and pretty much all the time, unless I'm like recording in the bright lights as I do right now, I usually use this 2 times brighter version of the tablet at 50% brightness. So technically I don't really need it, because this is the 50% brightness. This is approximately what it would look like at just one Type-C cable at 100% brightness, which is exactly what I need anyway, but I thought I'll just plug in both of them to have the option to maybe watch a movie at brighter colors. And about the colors, by the way, I'm really trying to put as much unique information as possible in this review, something I haven't seen other reviewers mentioning. But yeah, if we go into like the driver of XPPen here, which is, by the way, where you can also change the shortcuts for the controller. But the display itself, you can find display settings right here. And as you can see, these are the settings that I found working like the best in terms of just getting the normal, brightest, lossless, and just well-balanced colors out of the display. This is what I found working the best for me. So user settings, 50% contrast, because any more than that will cause losses, like bright colors will start clipping and become flat. So 50% is where it should be always. And yeah, user mode, don't touch any of that, and just use the, like, not the user mode for the temperature, but 6500. 6500 is like the perfect white temperature of the light, like not warm, not cold. So this is the setting that gives you the colors that are oh so close to the colors on my laptop display, which is like my point of reference, which is a wrong reference. But other settings in here, they seem to be like the proper calibration presets, and this looks really good as well. But I have this special Pantone background on my Windows 11 here, and just this shade of violet becomes like really blue at this setting, and most of them just do something weird with the color. It's just not that color at all. But at user mode, at this 6500, this is exactly the proper shade of blue. So that was my point of reference, and after I set it up this way, I just always had no issues with colors. It always looks just right. So I highly recommend setting things up this way. These colors are a bit off. They may be appropriate in terms of like following these standards in the color gamut coverage or whatever, but if you just want the proper straight colors that work well and are bright enough and everything, that's just this user mode at 6500. Also, final update, after editing a few videos, I noticed the 6500 preset had a bit of a strong magenta, so these settings in the user color temperature mode seem to work the best for me, for now. Now about the two pens, they work really well. I finally got to try this latest technology from XPPen with their X3 3 whatever Pro pen technology. I always forget what it's called, but yeah, it works really well. Like if you don't compare it at the same time with like a Wacom pen, I think they feel like a Wacom pen. I know there's a little bit of the wobble, but it's like very minimal, less than anything else you can try outside of the overpriced Wacom technology. So yeah, in here we have very nice activation pressure point, as well as like just the sensitivity. The tilt works really well. It's getting like somewhat incorrect or disabled at the very like half-inch or less at the very edges of the screen. That's where the tilt is unable to properly estimate its angles and everything, but aside from that, both pens work great with the pressure and tilt and everything. Like the precision is really good. The travel of the nibs as you press on them is super minimal, so like Wacom style pressure, no weird long button press or anything like that. They have this nice, like the thicker pen has this rubbery sleeve on it, which is the way it always works with most pens. The slimmer one is actually all plastic, but is that kind of like, I could swear this is actually rubber and not a plastic kind of surface, so it also provides a really good grip. While the form factor is pretty much identical to an Apple Pencil, which is interesting, but you have 2 physical buttons on the side, which is great. We have this roller stylus, the thicker one, and Pro Slim. I tend to use Pro Slim pretty much 100% of the time because it's very convenient. I'm used to the Apple Pencil form factor. It works really good. It actually has a little secret in it. You can unscrew the upper part and actually place 4 nibs inside of it if you want to. It's not necessary at all since you have the case and everything. And about the thicker, the roller pen, and also about the quality, I'll mention 2 things. On my rolling pen, for some reason, the scroll wheel doesn't work very well. So as far as I can tell, it's just broken for some reason. Like it's just my pen that does that. I watched some other reviewers because XPPen never answered my email, but it seems like the scroll wheel is supposed to work well. Other people don't have a problem with that, but mine seems to be broken. I could scroll up several times and it would start working properly, but then it's like here's a point of reference. I am scrolling like down right now and it keeps going up and down, and I'm just scrolling in the same direction. And then I would switch the direction and it would still continue scrolling in the previous direction, and then after several steps it would switch. It's this weird thing. It's like sometimes it's confusing which direction I'm going. So yeah, just something broken about it. I don't know why. Like mechanically it does just the right thing. It has nice clicks and all. It feels like it should work well, but it's just like in its brain for some reason something's broken. I don't know why. But yeah, aside from that, the other 2 buttons work well, but because the scroll wheel is right here at the most convenient place to use it, since it's broken, it feels like the whole pen doesn't work very well because of its main feature being broken. So I usually just use the slimmer pen, all the same stuff, but you just don't have the scroll wheel, and yeah, you can use either the controller or your keyboard. And yeah, in terms of the quality, I will mention I received this way before the tablet actually was announced and publicly released by XPPen, so I've been testing it for like 2 months at least already. So it's a long-term review. But yeah, one thing I'll mention, like maybe it was one of the earlier units or something, that's why I have this problem with the scroll wheel, but also there was an interesting moment when I unboxed it. It has no issues at all, I almost forgot about it. The surface of the display, like this glass right here, it was actually like popped off and like curved outwards. There was like a little space in between the body of the tablet and the glass. So I just pressed it in and it clicked into it. So it just maybe some kind of temperature variations while it was shipping, or maybe something that they missed when they were putting it together on the factory. But yeah, there was like a little thing that I needed to pop in. It was scary, but it ended up working perfectly fine. Like there's no issue at all. Aside from it, it feels really good. It is like on the lighter side. Like you don't feel like you're overpaying for like a premium build or something. It's just there's a little bit of the wiggling going on between all the plastic parts. It's not too bad, but I guess just don't do a lot of that. Of course, I'm using Torbox because I'm really used to this form factor, but if you don't have Torbox, this controller can definitely work pretty well. It's just that it's like, I found it working best when you're like holding it in your hand. So you can rotate the canvas or change the zoom or change the brush size and all of that. Like this scroll wheel works really well and all the buttons here work well, and you can actually have 4 presets right here. You can activate them or deactivate them. And the way I use these presets, like I think that's why there's 4 of them, because you can use it at any of the 4 orientations. And I have the preset for all 4 of them. And they pretty much work the same way. So the second one would be the 90 degrees one. So I always try to emulate the bottom left corner of the keyboard. So Control Shift Alt Space in one way or another. So all of these buttons will be doing that, and then I have some stuff to reset the canvas size, undo, redo, switch monitor, which is the only way to switch monitor is through this controller, because you can't just map a keyboard shortcut for it. So only this controller, something that is set up from the XPPen driver, is something that can change the layout for the pen. So if I want to switch to my laptop screen, I'll tap this upper left button and now I'm over there. And yeah, of course, this is like this mature driver that we are dealing with here. So if we go to the pen settings, there's a whole bunch of features you can assign to it, as well as you can have all kinds of presets for any piece of software that you want to be using it with. And yeah, what else have I forgotten to mention? There are nice little legs that can just expand right here to give you this little tilt. But if that's not enough, which it generally shouldn't be, there's also the VESA support right there, so you can mount it on some kind of arm, which is something I'm planning to do eventually. And at the same time, I feel like it's really the non-compromise size. It's a very convenient size to draw on, actually. Just the travel of the hand is very good. There's so much space for all the interfaces as well as drawing. You know, you can really fit an office paper inside of your drawing software's interface. Then you have like a full uninterrupted office paper to draw on, which is a great deal to have. So yeah, before I wrap this up, a little bonus that I almost forgot about. I wanted to talk about the surface of the screen. So we have this nice matte surface. It seems like it's a matter of taste, but I think it's like the best surface possible. And what's interesting, it's literally the same surface the XPPen's Magic Drawing Pad has, which is this Android 10-inch tablet they released earlier this year as well. And I really like this tablet, and the more I use it, the more I like it actually. In many ways, because there's been a few software updates that fixed a few issues I used to have with it. And I mentioned it in the main review, but now like I can easily swipe from the top with the finger. They fixed the issue with this gesture of swiping from the top. And it also has nice gestures for multitasking, so 3-finger swipe, and I can add another app to multitask split screens and switch them around like this and everything. So yeah, I found this combo being really cool, especially for some reason it's just so satisfying to have this consistent, smooth, sandy, kind of like paper-like surface of the glass on both of them. And yeah, the pens that come with the Artist Pro 19 Gen 2, they also work with the Magic Drawing Pad, because they're both this latest generation of pens, which is fun, but still the Magic Drawing Pad doesn't support tilt even with these pens, as well as only one side button will work with it. So the functionality doesn't increase from its pen that comes in the box with the Magic Drawing Pad, but it's just cool that you can use the same pen on both screens. So yeah, I guess this is it. Let me know what you guys think. I'll do my best to make an actual test in action video. Maybe we'll make another concept art for my video game using this tablet, because whenever we're drawing on this channel from now on, I will definitely be using this bad boy right here because it's such a good experience of drawing on it. So yeah, overall experience and like my thoughts about it is that like this is like the best tablet I've ever had. Just such a nice form factor and all the features are just right. But yeah, this is it. This is my review and my opinions about Artist Pro 19 Gen 2. And I hope I'll see you guys soon in the next video. Bye! Really nice device. I'm like still very excited about it, which is weird after such a long time. And one thing about the form factor is that while it being so big and very nice to work with in terms of the size, it still fits into my backpack with my laptop. So it's still kind of mobile, which is really cool.